Strategic failure here, and we are back in Europa Universalis V as the County of Bambara. We're in version 1.0.9, and we are somewhat reduced from where we were last time. If you are enjoying these videos, please do like and subscribe, or leave a comment if you want to comment on something that's been going on, or some sort of strategy you might have for us. But we are, as you can see, in the first Bambaran Malian War. We have just declared independence along with quite a lot of Mali's other vassals. We have 35,000 troops compared to their 20,000. And hopefully we are going to win this. And this would be a bit of quite the comeback if we do, because in the last video we were looking quite poor. We nearly got annexed. We lost a lot of our land, as you can see. We are now quite small. Well, surprise, we're getting Mali as our rival. And now we're fighting this war, and we will see how the conclusion of that goes and see where we go from here. So the first couple of battles at the end of the last video we had lost, but I think this one we might actually win. We've taken our allies took a small bit of Ouagadougou there, and I think won a battle before we even got there. Fantastic. And there's another winning battle going up there in Songhai. 12,000 versus 2,000. I think that might win. I'm going to send my troops over here to actually start taking some of Mali's land. I know we are being sieged ourselves. Djenné has fallen, but we have 12,000, I think that's Sokoto troops, or the cannon. That was too quick, didn't read it. So we have those troops that are coming over, and they're probably going to rescue us there. Allies lost there, but we'll take them on now, and they can lose this battle instead. Oh, our people have been enslaved. We're actually fairly well occupied. most of Bambara has now been occupied, but our allies are going to help us out there, I think. We're not at any risk of losing. You can see the war score is only at 2%. I think I will go up there myself and take Djenné back. As you can see here, we are... or at least our allies have occupied part of Mali, and we are heading up to liberate Djenné. That was the word I was looking for. We're heading up to liberate Djenné and take our own land back. Our large allied army there is heading down towards Mali, and despite the lack of war score, I think strategically we're in quite a good place here. Moving on a bit, we can see we've now headed down here to join our allies, who I think did win the battle against those other troops down there. And we were suffering from the death deity god, because I was wondering why we were taking attrition. I tried getting food from Carolina, our vassal there, but not our vassal, sorry, our ally there. But despite the fact I'm allied in a war with them, it said I wasn't, and therefore I could not get food from them. So that was a bit odd. Just as I'm recording this video, 1.0.10 has come out, so maybe that's something that's been fixed in that. It might have been a bug. If it wasn't, please let me know why I could not get food access from my fellow participant in a war. So looking here, we've taken a little bit more of Mali's land, and then we are going to see that actually, even at this point, with 36% on the war score, they would let us take, or they would let us have our independence, but we're not going to settle for that. We're going to take a bit more of their land because we are severely outnumbering them now, and we want to weaken them as much as possible. The idea is to weaken Mali as much as possible because they are the strongest entity in East Africa at this time, in West Africa at this time, and we want to take that place. So we are going to weaken them as much as possible when we do find the way. Here we go. Right, so we're getting them to release. We're not deciding against that. We're going to release our slaves. We're going to pay reparations. I don't think we're going to take any land. I think we're just going to get our independence which will be a lot of us. It's not just us, it's all our allies that have joined us as well are also going to get independence. We're not going to take any land right now. I think in the end, I think we could have fought on longer, but that bit of Mali there just on the left is quite vulnerable. So I'm sure later, right, we're just going to move our army back. And we can now see we are an independent country. We are nobody's vassal. So that is fantastic. We have gone from almost a game over to gaining our independence. Now, my first thought was I desperately need some allies because now we're in this position where we're very vulnerable. So I looked for some alliances, and we got an alliance over Ghana, and I think I also went with Karina, and I was kind of looking at Ouagadougou, but I don't think that was going to work. And then we looked at declaring war on these two tiny little provinces that are next to us because that's a very obvious thing to do. They're tiny, they haven't got any allies. But I think we would need to wait for a parliament because I wasn't prepared to spend that much stability. We only have one stability right now, so we're not really prepared to spend that much stability in getting a war for like one small province. Okay, so we just spent a bit of time sorting out our economy. It's in a fairly decent place considering we went bankrupt not that long ago. And I think I decided then to form a defensive league with Ouagadougou, at least initially, because I was a bit concerned. They are quite large, quite powerful, and sitting right next to me. And I had actually no idea what the three different options here actually entail. They are all, to me, they all read as very similar. And the Bam Bam Union came back again. So we regained our union with Bambuk, which was great. I did want a quick look at institutions to see if they're questions, but we have got a Portuguese and a Spanish colony just over on the left there, over on the coast. And they may come in useful for spreading those institutions because obviously Portugal and Spain are going to have those. So you can see we've gone from a very beige map to a very colourful map. So I thought I would actually build a very tiny army, a very tiny standing army because we could afford it. We had a bit of manpower. I think that was just from the sergeantry. And I think all we really are going to manage is like 200 footmen. I don't think we're going to get anything else there. Okay, so it was back to economy. We're building market villages. We wanted to build up that market a bit more. And we actually looked at going to war with Timbuktu. We did actually, I thought we could create a claims on province casus belli with Timbuktu, and they're not very strong either. So I think that was the way we went. There we go. Build a spy network. Get the casus belli. It takes a long time to get the casus belli, I think, in this game. In fact, I think I just fabricated one here. I think what we're going to do, we're going to fabricate a casus belli on that tiny little place there. Because why not? So these were the two Cabura was one of the two places that was kind of sitting in the middle of our country previously. Now they're on the edge where we lost so much land. But we still had this 19.9 stability cost because I think they actually quite liked us, and I think that was the problem. I think so. Send them an insult. Tell them their mother was a hamster and their father. I went for a different one here. I'm not sure it really matters. May your sky be filled with comets. Okay, and hopefully that then means they like us slightly. You hope that reduces relations. Didn't at all. So that was unhelpful. In fact, I've got careful diplomatic manoeuvring. I'm not quite sure what caused that, but it meant they do kind of like me. So that's a bit of a problem. But eventually I had enough stability and didn't care. Press the buttons anyway. So this should be very, very brief. It's one small province, but it's progress they need taking at some point. We're not going to let them sit there. Nope. There we go. Won the battle. I reminded the wars we had in previous videos where Mali was declaring war on all these tiny neighbours, and now we're doing the same. There we go, 100%. Just nope, that one. There we go. Okay. And yeah, why hang about there? We've got Messina back. Or we've got Messina. So we've got it back. We never had it in the first place. We now have Messina. Fantastic. We do need to integrate it because it was never part of our country in the first place. So we are going to stop stabilizing the country so much and integrate. There we go. Lovely. And we can now get start creating our casus belli on Timbuktu, because they're not very strong. They haven't got any allies. We could take the rest of Messina, or it doesn't. I'm not sure this really matters where we actually declare. Like when we actually declare war, that will be our sort of our war goal. So take somewhere fairly close by. No point going miles away. We did have a brief look, see if we could declare war on Mali again, but yeah, that's not going to be wise. It's going to be a while, I think, before that happens again. Timbuktu got into a war with Tarafka. And yeah, that's like nobody versus nobody. And yeah, 229 versus 0. But unfortunately, they somehow still lost. And so I'm glad I made that claim on the area next to me, because otherwise we would have been in trouble here, because Tarafka would have taken it instead. So then we're going to build a spy network on Tarafka as well, because they're not very strong and they've got a fair bit of land. And so eventually we got our casus belli on Timbuktu, so we can declare war with our claims. They have 51 troops. Fantastic. Oh, but again, it is still 10 stability. They probably like us. Everybody does seem to like us. Like, fine, we did, overthrow the big boy and free all these people. So it's insult time. Yeah, this time your mother was a hamster and your father smells of elderberries. We finished integrating Messina. I think Zaga, is it Zagba? Zaga? I can't see, it's under an icon there, but I think they'll probably just get taken with some, I think they'll get taken with a parliamentary thing. So finally we get to declare war on Timbuktu. There we go. And yeah, annoyingly they've got a fort, so that's going to be a bit of a pain. We definitely don't have anything near cannons yet. So we've raised our levies. We're going to take that bit first, because that's the bit without the fort. It's not going to take very long. The death god is doing his job again. I think that's the only reason we had any attrition there. We've got some allies have decided to turn up as well. There we go. And then we're going to go and sit on that fort for a bit. As you see, we're gradually sort of improving most of our other stats. And you can see these bits of Timbuktu are part of Bambaran culture, so we shouldn't have to integrate them. That's something to consider when it comes to the peace treaty. I think maybe that very western province might not be. I always get my, as you may tell, I always get my west and east confused. The leftmost province of Timbuktu may need integrating, but I think the rest probably were previously part of Bambara before Mali took them, and then Timbuktu, I don't know, or I can't remember now, but they are Bambaran culture, or they have enough Bambaran culture that we won't need to integrate them. Right, so at the moment we're going to take those bits because we need to go and siege that fort for a bit longer. And a bit longer, and a bit longer. And then probably a bit longer. Yeah, any time now. I want to siege that fort. Right, we're going to have Parliament, and I think with this Parliament, we don't really care which one of these we're doing, but we are going, we're going to have to increase something. We can look outwards, or we can have a DAC. We'll look outwards, and we're going to fabricate a casus belli on our invalid target there. Why were they invalid? We'll find them in the list. Yet we can pick them in the list. Perhaps I was just pointing in the wrong place because it's tiny. Okay, so once we finished here, the siege of Duenza eventually is successful. And so finally we can actually take all of Timbuktu. There we go. We are going to annoy some people, probably just Timbuktu. Doesn't really matter, they're not going to exist. We can annoy them all we like. There we go. All that stuff is now us. Fantastic. So disband the levies, don't need them anymore. Great, and we're now looking at doing the same thing with Tarafka. We're going to start a casus belli to claim probably Safale and the rest of Timbuktu. And we can declare our war on Zaga, who really like us. For goodness sake, why do we always have to like us so much? We'll send them an insult again. Most our civility losses at the moment are just from declaring war on people who like us too much. They haven't realised that they perhaps shouldn't like us. But, right, there we go. We can now declare war. We have a diplomat. It's still costing us 10. I don't care. Then we're going to do it anyway. Ta-da! Right, this is going to be brief. I'm not even going to bother to raise my levies for this. We just send in the army. All 200 of them. Poor guys. They declared us our rival. Fantastic. Right. That was brief. Oh, and we need a diplomat. Always needing diplomats. I should probably turn up my diplomatic spending a bit more if I can. Right, there we go. And we've swallowed up them. Right. We are going to break our alliance with Ghana, because Ghana are one of our next targets. Look at our control. Dreadful. It'll get better. It'll get better, especially those places we've just recently taken. Okay. I didn't really want to turn down my maintenance and that because it does hit your prestige. And what we can be aiming towards is now forming a duchy. We have enough stuff there, other than prestige and a bit of gold, to become a duchy. I think it's very unlikely we're going to become the leader of the Holy Roman Empire. We could try. We could probably just open the screen and have a look at it. Right, finally we get our casus belli on Tarafka. Like, you can already see the prestige has been ticking up. We're at 19 now, so it's not going to be far off, I think. We take claims on preference and declare war, and this may even give us this war may give us the prestige we need to become a duchy. Yep, anytime, press the button. There we go. Right. Take Safale. Raise levies. We've got 3,000 now. That's a number that keeps getting bigger every time we press it, so that's great. I think during the stream for this, I was saying this is a game where it's either about numbers getting bigger or numbers getting smaller. And you want some numbers to get bigger, like how many levies we got, and we want some numbers to get smaller. Can't think of any of those numbers right off the top of my head. Right, the number of troops they've got, there's a number we want to make smaller. And yeah, I think it's going to happen there. Yep, poor guys. There you go. Battle of Dutzen. Okay, now thankfully, oh no, they do have a fort. They have the fort over in Doggo there. Might not be pronounced Doggo. I'm going to call it Doggo though. So we'll take the other stuff first. We'll take Bambara, and yeah, I think some of that is my culture. At least there are some Bambarans there. So that's going to help us with not having to have too much stuff to integrate. As you can see, we haven't got any of that stuff. Nothing needs integrating at the moment. So that's very helpful. Okay, oh, they came in with their 0 troops. Oh, wow. 0 people came along and attacked. How does that even work? And why are there armies of 0? Just like ghost troops coming in. What's left of our army is going to come and attack you. And then we had another battle over here. Yep, off they go. We lost the... They won the Battle of Gossi, and we went over here to Wham. In fact, I chased them down first because they were really annoyingly going to liberate that province I've already taken. Even with only 358 of them, they'd probably have managed it. So I chased them all the way over here, stack wipe them, and then we're going to go all the way back to Borum and hope maybe we don't need to. I think we're going to have to take that. We're going to have to take that fort, which is going to be somewhat frustrating. Right, and so heading Gossi. What is the plan? What is the plan? I think the plan next is to take Ghana and establish us as the sort of biggest, baddest boy in town. That is what we are planning. We have our union with Bambuk, and that's, yeah, we're going to develop that as much as we can and eventually integrate them. By the point we integrate them, we should hopefully have a border with them of some sort. And yeah, Ouagadougou keep sending that because they're in this defensive league. Right, we're at 100% and we can take everything despite the fact that we haven't sieged that fort. So that's very useful. There we go. We are going to upset themselves and Songhai, but yeah, Ghana we're kind of taking on next anyway once the truce runs out. So yeah, I think let's go for it. Lots of stuff to Bambara. Beautiful. Look at that. Look how small we were at the start of this video. We had a look at Tadmeka up there, but we can't get to them there. There's a sort of corridor. But right, we offered an became allied with Takwa there. We did some marrying. And there we go. Marrying was enough to upgrade our country rank, and we are going to become a duchy. We are no longer going to be the county of Bambara, but, drumroll, we are now the emirate of Bambara. Fantastic. I think it's going to be a long way before we get to become a kingdom. We need at least 2 million people for that. So that's not happening yet. But fantastic. Okay, and the Bam Bam Union are going to progress. So all is looking quite rosy. This is looking very good. Let's start offensively with Ouagadougou. We're going to establish seniority now over Bambuk. now we're definitely bigger than. I'd avoided this a little bit before because I wasn't entirely convinced we were bigger than them. But we are. They are 618. We are 254 in terms of the order of every single country ever in the entire world. So there we go. And our market's looking fairly good as well. It's no longer looking a weird shape. So things were progressing nicely. We got the established seniority, so we are now the senior partner in the Bam Union. And yes, I am going to keep calling it that. And there we go, it's just confirming that. And we are also going to have unified succession law, because that is very important, because without that, there's a risk that the union breaks down. Now we are looking at a casus belli on Ghana there, but that's not happening. Okay, yeah, that's what we want. That's me indicating what we're going to have. We're going to take over that whole area. And Ouagadougou ended up in a war, despite the fact we seem to be in some sort of defensive alliance. And I think the reason was because they went to war with Karina, and Karina are our ally, and so therefore they couldn't call us in against our ally. Or I picked one of those options wrong earlier. One of those two things. So yeah, that's a bit unfortunate. That's going to make Karina quite strong, which perhaps wasn't ideal. Eventually, Karina wins, turns Ouagadougou into their tributary, and there goes our defensive league. Now we've got to the point where we can centralise a bit more with Bambuk. Got economy of the union, and of course we're going to go for vote for unified treasury. Right, it's fabricate casus belli time, and we are going to go for Ghana. We were building a spy network, but I think I'm going to take this route instead, because I think I was just being impatient, to be honest. So there we go. We are going there. They are allies with Kuruminikotu. So that's not helpful. And they do like us, of course, because they were our allies. So it's insult time again. So many insults going on in this game today. It's time to insult the Ghanaians. There we go. Don't think it really matters. Oh, look, there's some lovely filth over there. Ah, there we go. They were very pleased with that insult. That was a very well crafted insult there. And then we can declare war without it costing us any stability. We want to take the province, even with Kuruminikotu. We are going to outnumber them, but we are going to raise our levies this time. So this is a slightly bigger war than previously. We're going to send our army over there to go and invade that bit. We are going to request food access from Bambuk, and that is most of the their army. And I think the Ghanaians have sent their little army over there to rather rudely capture Bambara. It was slightly obnoxious of them. But we're actually going to work on their ally, because their ally are probably the stronger nation. And yeah, I probably should have taken that fort there instead, because I'm not sure taking that is just all going to unseat yourself. But while we're doing this war, we haven't done enough economy in this video, so let's do a bit of economy. I'm going to build some stuff, and eventually we get a bit of war. Nobody cares about that. I showed you lots of that war, didn't I? I'm sure you're really interested about me wandering all the way up to the top of Ghana there. And we take most of it. Was one tiny bit of Kuruminikotu that we could not take. And now we have all of this stuff. And we are some sort of demented starfish. Beautiful. Look at the border gore going on there. Right, I'm now close enough to Morocco to start being friends with them. They would be a fantastic ally. It's not going to happen though. I did look at declaring war on Magadugu, but of course I don't think I'd realised at this point they were a tributary of Karina. So that is going to have to wait. It's not going to happen anytime soon because we want to keep Karina as our friend, I think. We are much, much stronger now. This is our mutual defence policy. We're in the Bam Bam Union. I think I went for the top one. Yes, that's probably what we want to go for. So now they will come into any of our wars that we might fight. So that is useful. It's a little while until we can get the next one. So there we go. Right. I again looked at declaring war on Karina, but they were my ally. I think I'd had to stand with. I didn't realise they're my ally. You can't declare war on your ally. Yeah, you can't declare war on because they're your ally. There we go. Yep. Trying to declare war on my ally. This was a great move. I think I wanted to take Songhai. I think that was it. I wanted to take Songhai, but they are also allied with Karina. They had previously been a vassal of Mali, but I think at some point they might have broken free. So we got a new Amir. The old Amir died, then so Tabon III comes along. There we go. He died suddenly from a burst ulcer. Lovely. Poor guy. So we now have our first new Amir because the previous one just got promoted from being Duke. Now we had this issue where Bambuk were likely to leave the Union because of succession laws. And I thought this is strange because we have unified succession law. So it should be that my heir is their heir. And for some reason, this is saying we have different heirs. And at this point, I was not entirely sure why. It says member leaving the Union. Their heir was Gain here, Gain Takla. Whereas my heir S is Sogolon, so I assumed it is some sort of gender issue. Not sure quite why that was happening at that point. I will discuss that a bit more in the next video, and we will find out why it is that there is some sort of ban on females being the leader of Bambuk, which there isn't on them being the leader of Bambara. So that was kind of where we got to. So we have had such a comeback. We were nearly gone. We were nearly dead. And now we have promoted to a duchy. We have taken a lot of land. And things are only going to get better from here. So there was a lot of watching wars today. Please do like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video. Please do comment on any strategies you think you might have for me and anything I could have been doing better. And I will see you next time.